Have no fear. Act as if everything always works out. Not because life is always easy. Not because every door opens the moment you knock. Not because every prayer is answered the way your impatient mind expects. But because there is a higher order moving behind the scenes. There is a wisdom beyond your understanding. There is a divine intelligence guiding steps you cannot yet see. And when your mind learns to live from that place, fear loses its authority over you. Most people live as if something is about to go wrong. They wake up bracing for bad news. They make decisions from anxiety. They speak words of defeat before the battle even begins. They prepare for failure more than they prepare for victory. And then they wonder why their life feels heavy, blocked, and uncertain. But there is another way to live. There is a way to move through life with quiet confidence. There is a way to face uncertainty without trembling inside. There is a way to walk into the unknown, as if heaven has already gone before you. This is not arrogance, this is faith. This is not pretending, this is programming your mind to expect divine order instead of disaster. Napoleon Hill taught that faith is a state of mind that can be created by repeated instruction to the subconscious mind. In other words, fear is learned, but faith can also be learned. Anxiety is repeated imagination in the wrong direction, but confidence is repeated imagination in alignment with truth. And the Bible says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Listen carefully to that. Fear is not your natural spiritual inheritance. Fear is not the voice of God. Fear is not your guide. Fear is a signal that your imagination has been captured by the wrong picture. It is your mind rehearsing loss instead of trusting promise. It is your inner vision being used against you. But from this moment on, you are taking that vision back. The title of this message is not just a motivational phrase. Have no fear. Act as if everything always works out. This is a mental discipline. This is a spiritual practice. This is a way of becoming the kind of person who is not controlled by circumstances. You will learn how to stand in faith before evidence appears. You will learn how to act with confidence before the result arrives. You will learn how to train your mind to expect favor, solutions, provision, protection, and direction. And what you are about to understand is deeper than positive thinking. Positive thinking says, maybe things will get better. Faith says, God is already working. Positive thinking tries to cover fear with nice words. Faith removes fear from the root. Positive thinking depends on mood. Faith depends on truth. So take a deep breath. Right now, wherever you are, let your shoulders relax. Let your jaw soften. Let your heart slow down. You do not need to solve your whole life in this moment. You do not need to know how every door will open. You do not need to see the whole staircase. You only need to decide that fear will no longer be the ruler of your mind. Say this quietly inside yourself. I am guided. I am protected. I am provided for. Everything is working out for me. The world teaches you to wait for proof before you feel safe. But faith teaches you to become safe inside before the proof appears. That is the secret. Most people say, when everything works out, then I will relax. When the money comes, then I will feel abundant. When the relationship heals, then I will feel peace. When the opportunity appears, then I will believe. But that is backwards. You do not become fearless after the miracle. You become fearless before it. You do not become confident after the door opens. You become confident while standing in the hallway. You do not become grateful only when the blessing is visible. You become grateful while it is still forming in the invisible. This is why Jesus said that whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Notice the order: believe first, receive in your inner world first, stand in the feeling of completion first. Then the outer world begins to align. Napoleon Hill said that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But the key is belief, not wishing, not hoping with panic, not begging with fear. Belief, a settled inner knowing, a calm command, a spiritual certainty. Fear asks, what if it goes wrong? Faith asks, what if God already made a way? Fear says, protect yourself from disappointment. Faith says, prepare yourself for fulfillment. Fear says, do not move until you are certain. Faith says, Move with wisdom because you are guided. Fear sees delay and calls it denial. Faith sees delay and calls it preparation. And this is where your transformation begins. You must stop interpreting every delay as a sign that nothing is happening. You must stop assuming silence means absence. Seeds grow in silence, babies grow in hidden places. Gold is formed under pressure. Roots deepen in darkness. Some of the most important movements of God happen where human eyes cannot see. Your life may look quiet right now, but that does not mean it is empty. Something is forming. Something is being arranged. Someone is being prepared. A connection is moving closer. An idea is maturing. A door is being unlocked from the other side. Have no fear. Act as if everything always works out. This does not mean you do nothing. It means you act from a different energy. You still make decisions. You still work. You still study. You still build. You still pray. You still show up. But you stop acting like an abandoned person. You stop rushing as if everything depends only on your strength. You stop making desperate choices because you are terrified of missing out. The person who knows everything is working out, moves differently. They speak differently, they wait differently, they work differently. They do not confuse peace with laziness. Their peace is powerful. Their calm is not weakness. Their calm is authority. Think of David standing before Goliath. Everyone else saw danger. David saw destiny. Everyone else heard the giant's threats and trembled. David heard the same words, but his mind was anchored in a different reality. He did not act as if defeat was inevitable. He acted as if God was with him, and that inner state changed the entire outcome. This is what fear does not want you to realize. The circumstance is not the only force in the room. Your state of mind is also a force. Your faith is a force. Your words are a force. Your imagination is a force. Your expectation is a force. And when these forces align with God, you become difficult to defeat. The enemy of your destiny does not need to destroy you if he can simply keep you afraid. A fearful person postpones their calling. A fearful person hides their gifts. A fearful person overthinks every step until the door closes. A fearful person calls hesitation wisdom. A fearful person prays for guidance, but refuses to move when guidance comes. But that ends now. Write in the comments, "Fear no longer leads me." This is not just for engagement, this is for your own agreement. Your words matter. When you write it, you are making a public decision with your private mind. You are telling your subconscious that the old identity is losing power. Fear no longer leads me. Now let this truth go deeper. Acting as if everything always works out is not about denying reality. It is about choosing which reality gets the final word. You may see a problem, but you do not bow to the problem. You may feel pressure, but you do not let pressure name your future. You may face uncertainty, but you do not hand your imagination to worst-case scenarios. There is a difference between being responsible and being fearful. Responsibility says, "I will take the next right step." Fear says, "I must control everything, or I will not survive." Responsibility is clear. Fear is frantic. Responsibility listens to wisdom. Fear listens to panic. Responsibility builds. Fear burns energy. Some people think fear protects them, but most of the time fear imprisons them. It convinces them to stay small. It makes them rehearse failure so often that success feels unfamiliar. It makes them suspicious of blessings. It makes them uncomfortable with peace. It whispers, "Do not trust this, something bad might happen." But faith whispers something higher. Even here, God is working. Even now, a way is opening. Even this will serve my growth. Even what I do not understand is being woven into purpose. Romans says that all things work together for good, for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. It does not say every moment feels good. It does not say every situation looks good. It says all things work together for good. That means the delay, the closed door, the uncomfortable season, the unexpected change, the lesson, the redirection, the quiet year, the lonely preparation, the unanswered question, all of it can be gathered by God and woven into something greater. So when you act as if everything always works out, you are not saying every moment is pleasant. You are saying no moment is wasted. That is a powerful way to live. Imagine waking up tomorrow with that belief in your body. Imagine walking into the day not asking what will go wrong, but asking, how is God guiding me today? Imagine receiving a challenge, and instead of collapsing, you breathe and say, "There is a solution here." Imagine getting a no, and instead of feeling rejected, you think, "Then there is a better yes being protected." Imagine facing a delay, and instead of panicking, you say, "Preparation is happening." That one shift can change your entire life. Because your brain follows your dominant expectation. When you expect disaster, your mind searches for evidence of disaster. When you expect rejection, your mind magnifies every sign of distance. When you expect failure, your actions become hesitant, your voice becomes weak, your decisions become defensive. But when you expect things to work out, your mind begins searching for possibility. You notice opportunities, you speak with more confidence, you take healthier risks, you recover faster from setbacks, you become more creative. Your body relaxes. Your intuition becomes clearer. Napoleon Hill understood this when he taught that the subconscious mind receives and acts upon dominant thoughts. The subconscious does not simply respond to what you say once. It responds to what you repeat with emotion. That is why fear can become a program. But faith can also become a program. You have repeated fear long enough. Now you will repeat faith. Every morning before the world tells you who to be, tell your mind who you are. Before your phone fills you with noise, fill your spirit with truth. Before you check messages, check your inner state. Do not begin the day as a victim of your thoughts. Begin as the guardian of your mind. Say this when you wake up. Today, I have no fear. Today, I move with faith. Today, I act as if everything is working out, because God is already ahead of me. This is not a magic sentence. It is mental direction. It is spiritual alignment. It is you choosing the atmosphere of your own mind before the world tries to choose it for you. And at night, before you sleep, do not go to bed rehearsing what hurt you. Do not fall asleep imagining what could go wrong. The moments before sleep are sacred. Your conscious mind grows quiet, and your subconscious becomes more receptive. Whatever you carry into sleep becomes a seed. Many people plant anxiety at night and wake up wondering why they feel heavy. They plant arguments, fear, comparison, unpaid bills, and old memories, then expect peace to grow. No. Before you sleep, plant faith. Close your eyes and imagine yourself calm, blessed, guided, stable, successful, restored. See yourself walking through the situation with confidence. See the answer arriving. See the conversation going well. See your heart at peace. See your future not as a battlefield, but as a garden God is teaching you to cultivate. Then whisper, "Everything is working out for me. I release fear. I trust divine timing. I am safe in God's hands." If you do this every night, not once, not only when you feel inspired, but consistently, you will begin to notice a change. Your reactions will change. Your dreams may become calmer. Your decisions will become clearer. Your emotional baseline will rise. You will start feeling less controlled by events and more anchored in truth. This is how a new identity is built, quietly, repeatedly, spiritually, mentally. The old you waited for problems. The new you waits for guidance. The old you expected loss. The new you expects alignment. The old you panicked in silence. The new you prays in silence. The old you asked, "Why does this always happen to me?" The new you says, "Show me what this is teaching me and where you are leading me." That is maturity. That is power. That is faith becoming personality. There is something very important here. Acting as if everything works out does not mean forcing fake happiness. Some days you will feel fear rising. Some days your body will feel tense. Some days your mind will bring back old stories. That does not mean you failed. It means you are human. The practice is not to never feel fear. The practice is to stop obeying fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing a higher voice. Faith is not pretending the storm is not there. Faith is remembering who commands the storm. Peace is not the absence of pressure. Peace is the presence of trust. When Peter walked on water, the storm was still there. The wind did not disappear before he stepped out. He stepped while the wind was present. That is the image you need. Many people are waiting for all fear to disappear before they move. But sometimes fear only loses power after you take the step. You do not wait to feel fearless. You practice fearlessness by moving with faith. Apply for the opportunity. start the project. Have the honest conversation, save the money, make the plan, learn the skill. Forgive where you are ready to forgive. Release what you know is draining you. Show up with the belief that help will meet you on the path. Not reckless, not impulsive, not careless. Faith is not foolishness. Faith listens to wisdom. Faith prepares. Faith pays attention. Faith does not jump from the temple to test God. Faith takes the next aligned step and trusts God with the parts it cannot control. There is a sentence you need to carry in your spirit. I do my part with excellence, and I trust God with the outcome. That sentence alone can free you from so much anxiety. Because fear often comes from trying to do God's part. You are responsible for obedience, effort, attitude, preparation, honesty, discipline, and faith. You are not responsible for controlling every person, every timeline, every door, every reaction, every hidden detail of the future. Do your part. Release the rest. This is one of the strongest signs that you are becoming mentally and spiritually mature. You can act without obsessing. You can prepare without panicking. You can desire without clinging. You can trust without seeing. Napoleon Hill spoke often about definiteness of purpose. A person with a clear purpose is less vulnerable to fear because their energy is directed. Fear loves a scattered mind. Fear grows in confusion. Fear grows when you do not know who you are, where you are going, or what you stand for. So ask yourself now, not with pressure but with honesty. What kind of person am I becoming? Not just what do I want to receive, what am I becoming? Because the person who acts as if everything works out is not passive. This person becomes stronger. This person becomes wiser. This person becomes more disciplined. This person becomes more faithful. This person becomes harder to manipulate by panic. When you know who you are becoming, temporary discomfort loses some of its power. You can endure a season when you understand it is shaping you. You can survive a closed door when you believe it is redirecting you. You can remain peaceful in uncertainty when your identity is not dependent on immediate evidence. Some of you listening right now have been living under a silent expectation of disappointment. You smile, you work, you keep going, but deep down you are always waiting for something to fall apart. Maybe it came from childhood. Maybe it came from betrayal. Maybe it came from repeated losses. Maybe your nervous system learned that peace is not safe because every time things felt good, something happened. But today that old agreement begins to break. You are allowed to expect good without feeling guilty. You are allowed to believe that blessings can last. You are allowed to receive without waiting for punishment. You are allowed to relax into God's goodness. You are allowed to say, "This time can be different." Write in the comments, "This time, I choose to expect good." Let those words become a doorway. Not because the comment itself has power, but because your agreement has power. You are agreeing with a new future. You are no longer partnering with dread. The Bible says, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life." Think about that. Goodness and mercy are not occasional visitors. They follow, they pursue, they remain near. But fear makes you look for enemies even when goodness is following you. Fear makes you suspicious of mercy. Fear makes you blind to favor. Faith opens your eyes. When you believe goodness and mercy are following you, you walk differently. You stop acting like life is only a threat. You stop expecting every unknown to hide pain. You begin to wonder, what if this unknown is carrying a blessing? What if this delay is protecting me? What if this ending is making room? What if this pressure is producing strength? What if this silence is teaching me to hear God more clearly? That is how the mind of faith interprets life. Not everything is good, but everything can be used. Not every person was right, but every lesson can refine you. Not every door was meant to open, but every closed door can guide you. Not every season is comfortable, but every season can produce wisdom. This is how everything works out. Sometimes it works out by giving you what you prayed for. Sometimes it works out by removing what would have destroyed you. Sometimes it works out by delaying what you were not ready to carry. Sometimes it works out by allowing discomfort to awaken strength you did not know you had. God's working out does not always look like your first plan. Sometimes it looks like redirection. Sometimes it looks like correction. Sometimes it looks like waiting. Sometimes it looks like losing interest in what you once begged for. Sometimes it looks like peace, where you expected excitement. Trust the deeper movement. The mind ruled by fear demands explanations. The mind trained in faith can live with mystery. It says, I do not understand yet, but I am not abandoned. I do not see the whole picture yet, but I am not lost. I do not know the timing yet, but I am not forgotten. This kind of faith makes you stable. And stability is rare. Most people are emotionally moved by every headline, every message, every delay, every opinion, every change in someone's tone. They are not living. They are reacting. Their peace is outsourced to circumstances. If things look good, they feel good. If things look uncertain, they collapse. But you are being called higher. Your peace cannot be rented from circumstances. It must be built within. Your confidence cannot depend on everyone approving of you. It must come from alignment with God. Your hope cannot rise and fall with temporary evidence. It must be rooted in something eternal. This is why Scripture says to trust in the Lord with all your heart and not lean on your own understanding. Your understanding is limited. Your understanding sees fragments. Your understanding is affected by mood, memory, wounds, and fear. But God sees the whole field. God knows the hidden motives. God knows the timing. God knows what you need, who you need, where you need to be, and what must be removed. So stop worshiping your own limited interpretation. Just because you cannot see a way does not mean there is no way. Just because you cannot feel progress does not mean nothing is moving. Just because someone did not choose you does not mean you are not chosen. Just because one plan failed does not mean your purpose failed. Have no fear. Act as if everything always works out. Return to that sentence whenever your mind begins to spiral. When the bank account looks low, breathe and say, provision is finding me and wisdom is guiding me. When the door closes, breathe and say, redirection is protection. When someone leaves, breathe and say, what belongs in my future will not require me to abandon myself. When you feel behind, breathe and say, my timing is not ruined, my path is still unfolding. When the dream feels far, breathe and say, what God planted in me is still alive. This is how you interrupt fear. You do not let it complete its speech. You answer it with truth. Fear says, what if you fail? You say, then I will learn, rise, and keep moving. Fear says, what if they reject you? You say, rejection cannot cancel God's favor. Fear says, what if it is too late? You say, divine timing is not intimidated by human clocks. Fear says, you are not enough. You say, I am growing, guided, and strengthened every day. Fear says nothing ever works out. You say everything is being worked together for my good. This is mental warfare, not dramatic, not loud, but real. The battlefield is often a quiet thought you either accept or reject. Every time you reject fear and choose faith, you are rebuilding your inner world, and your outer world eventually follows your inner world. A person who believes things work out will try again. A person who believes things work out will notice the lesson instead of drowning in shame. A person who believes things work out will ask for help. A person who believes things work out will keep their heart open. A person who believes things work out will plant seeds even in uncertain seasons. This is why expectation matters. Expectation shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. Results reinforce identity. Identity shapes destiny. So when you change expectation, you begin changing the chain. There is a version of you who no longer wakes up afraid. A version of you who is not controlled by old memories. A version of you who trusts your own steps because you trust God's guidance. A version of you who does not chase, panic, beg, or shrink. A version of you who can say no without guilt and yes without fear. A version of you who can be patient without feeling powerless. That version is not far away. It is built through repeated alignment. Today, one thought. Tonight, one prayer. Tomorrow, one courageous action. Again and again until faith becomes your default. Napoleon Hill taught that repetition is one of the ways belief is impressed upon the subconscious mind. This means your daily inner conversation matters more than you think. You cannot speak defeat all day and expect confidence to appear on command. You cannot rehearse disaster every night and expect peace to lead you in the morning. You cannot keep saying nothing works for me and then wonder why your mind refuses to recognize opportunity. Your words are training your nervous system. Your words are training your focus. Your words are training your faith. So speak as someone who expects divine help. Say, solutions are coming. Say, I am being guided. Say, this is working for my growth. Say, I have wisdom for the next step. Say, I do not need to fear the future because God is already there. The more you speak this way, the more familiar it becomes. At first, it may feel unnatural. That is normal. Fear may have been your language for years. Faith may feel like a new accent. Keep speaking it. Eventually, your soul will recognize it as home. And now pause for a moment and notice what is happening inside you as you listen. Maybe your breathing is slower. Maybe something in your chest feels lighter. Maybe your mind is beginning to see possibilities again. That is not random. That is what happens when truth begins replacing fear. This is why you must protect what you listen to. Every voice is planting something. Some voices plant panic. Some plant comparison. Some plant resentment. Some plant urgency. Some plant faith. Be careful who gets access to your inner world. You cannot act as if everything works out while constantly feeding your mind with voices that insist everything is falling apart. Guard your gates. Guard your eyes. Guard your ears. Guard your conversations. Guard your mornings. Guard your nights. This does not mean hiding from reality. It means refusing to be discipled by fear. You can be informed without being consumed. You can be aware without being anxious. You can face facts without surrendering your faith. There is a strength that comes from quiet discipline, turning off the noise, opening scripture, writing affirmations, sitting in prayer, taking a walk without your phone, breathing before reacting, choosing silence instead of arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. These are not small things. These are acts of inner leadership. The person who leads their own mind leads their life. And now I want you to understand one of the deepest secrets of acting as if everything works out. You must stop confusing uncertainty with danger. The unknown is not automatically bad. The unknown is also where miracles come from. The unknown is where new relationships come from. The unknown is where unexpected money comes from. The unknown is where fresh ideas come from. The unknown is where divine appointments come from. Fear calls the unknown a threat. Faith calls the unknown a field of possibility. When Abraham was called to leave what was familiar, he did not receive every detail in advance. He moved by faith. When Moses stood before the sea, the path was not visible until the moment of obedience. When the widow had only a little oil, multiplication came through instruction and action. Over and over again, Scripture shows us this pattern. The way appears as faith moves, not always before, often as. So do not be surprised when the next step appears only after you take the current one. Do not demand the entire map before obeying the first instruction. Sometimes clarity is a reward for movement. And this is where many people stay stuck. They want certainty before action, but faith often gives certainty through action. They want confidence before showing up, but confidence is built by showing up. They want fear to leave before they decide, but fear often leaves after the decision is made. Act as if everything works out. Send the message with peace. Submit the application with faith. Record the video. Start the business plan. Return to the dream. Have the conversation. Begin again. And while you act, keep your inner posture clean. Do not act with the energy of desperation. Do not say, this has to work or my life is over. Say, I am taking this step in faith, and God is free to bless it, redirect it, or use it to prepare me for something better. That is freedom. When you are deeply attached to one specific outcome, fear rises. But when you trust that God can work through many paths, peace returns. Your blessing is not fragile. Your future is not dependent on one person, one company, one opportunity, one perfect moment. God is not limited by the route you imagined. Sometimes the route changes because the destination is bigger than your original plan. Let that sink in. Sometimes the route changes because the destination is bigger than your original plan. You thought you were being denied, but you were being expanded. You thought you were being slowed down, but you were being strengthened. You thought you were losing time, but you were gaining wisdom. You thought it was over, but God was closing a smaller door so you could stop avoiding the larger one. Have no fear. There is a divine intelligence in the unfolding. Your role is to stay aligned in thought, stay aligned in speech, stay aligned in action, stay aligned in patience, stay aligned in gratitude. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to return from fear to faith. Fear focuses on what is missing. Gratitude focuses on what is present. Fear says, I do not have enough. Gratitude says, something is already here. Fear says, I am unsupported. Gratitude says, I have been carried before. Fear says, this will not work. Gratitude says, look how many times grace has met me. Before asking for more, remember what has already worked out. You survived days you thought would break you. You healed from things you once could not speak about. You found strength after disappointment. You received help at moments you did not know what to do. You have been guided before. You have been protected before. You have been restored before. Why would you assume grace has stopped now? Your history contains evidence of God's faithfulness. Fear wants you to forget that evidence. Gratitude brings it back. So make this a practice. Every day, name 3 things that are already working, not only big things, small things, breath in your lungs, a lesson learned, a person who cares, a roof, a chance to try again, a moment of peace, a new idea, a closed door that protected you, a delay that taught you patience. The more you notice what is working, the less your mind worships what is not yet working. And as your inner state shifts, your actions become cleaner. You no longer chase from lack. You attract through alignment. You no longer force every door. You knock, listen, and move with discernment. You no longer beg people to see your worth. You stand in the worth God already gave you. This is what it means to act as if everything works out. You treat yourself like someone with a future. You make choices as if your life is valuable. You invest in your growth as if your gifts matter. You care for your body as if you are needed. You manage your money as if more responsibility is coming. You speak with kindness as if your words create atmosphere. You forgive as if freedom is more important than pride. You rest as if God can work without your anxiety. That last one is important. You rest as if God can work without your anxiety. Some people are addicted to worry because worry makes them feel involved. They think if they stop worrying, they are being irresponsible. But worry is not preparation. Worry is imagination without faith. Worry drains the energy you could use for wise action. Jesus asked, who by worrying can add anything to their life? Worry does not add, it subtracts. It subtracts sleep. It subtracts clarity. It subtracts joy. It subtracts creativity. It subtracts presence. Faith restores what worry steals. So tonight, give your mind permission to rest, not because every question has been answered, but because your soul is not meant to carry tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. There is grace for today. Tomorrow will have grace when you get there. This is how you live free from fear. One day at a time, one thought at a time, one act of trust at a time. And before we move deeper, take a second to like this video if this message is speaking to you. That simple action helps this message reach someone who may be trapped in fear tonight, someone who needs to remember that God is not finished with them. And while you do it, breathe this truth into your own heart. God is not finished with me. Now let us go to the next layer. Fear often hides behind the need to control. You may not call it fear. You may call it planning. You may call it standards. You may call it being careful. And sometimes it is those things. But when control becomes obsessive, when you cannot rest unless everything goes exactly your way, fear is underneath. Control says, I do not trust life unless I am managing every detail. Faith says, I will be faithful with my part and trust divine order with the rest. Control exhausts you because it gives you a job that belongs to God. You were never designed to hold the entire future in your hands. You were designed to walk with God through the future as it unfolds. There is peace in surrender, but surrender is misunderstood. Surrender is not giving up on the dream. Surrender is giving up the panic attached to the dream. Surrender is not saying, I do not care. Surrender is saying, I care deeply, but I trust God more than I trust my fear. That is powerful. When you surrender correctly, you do not become passive. You become available. Available for guidance. Available for new ideas. Available for correction. Available for better timing. available for unexpected blessings. A closed fist cannot receive. Fear closes the fist. Faith opens it. So ask yourself, where have I been gripping too tightly? What outcome have I turned into an idol? What timeline have I worshipped? What person have I made responsible for my peace? What fear have I mistaken for wisdom? Do not judge yourself. Just notice. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. Then pray simply, God, I release what I cannot control. Guide what I can do, strengthen my faith, purify my desire. Lead me into what is truly good. That prayer can change your state immediately, because when you release control, your energy returns. You become creative again, you become present again, you can hear again. Fear is loud, faith is quiet. If your inner world is always noisy, it becomes hard to discern the still small voice. This is why silence matters. A few minutes of silence each day can reveal how much fear has been talking. Sit quietly and observe your thoughts. Do not fight every thought. Do not believe every thought. Just observe. Fear will make predictions. Let it speak, but do not crown it king. Then answer with truth. I hear you, fear, but I follow faith. This simple practice creates distance between you and your thoughts. You are not every thought that appears. You are the one who decides which thoughts become beliefs. A thought may knock at the door. You do not have to invite it to live in your house. Choose your residence carefully. Let faith live there. Let courage live there. Let gratitude live there. Let wisdom live there. Let scripture live there. Let purpose live there. Let peace live there. And when fear visits, do not panic. Just do not let it redecorate the room. Now there is another subtle part of acting as if everything works out. You must learn to interpret yourself correctly. Many people make a mistake and then define themselves by it. They fail once and say, I am a failure. They are rejected once and say, I am unwanted. They struggle financially and say, I am poor. They feel afraid and say, I am weak. No, an event is not an identity. A season is not an identity. A feeling is not an identity. Your identity must come from a higher source than your temporary experience. You are not what happened to you. You are not what someone said about you. You are not the worst decision you made. You are not the fear you felt this morning. You are a person being shaped, restored, guided, and strengthened by God. When your identity is stable, outcomes no longer destroy you. You can learn without shame. You can grow without self-hatred. You can correct your path without calling yourself cursed. This is why the words I am are so powerful. Be careful what you attach to them. Do not say, I am unlucky. Say, I am learning to recognize favor. Do not say, I am always behind. Say, I am moving in divine timing. Do not say, I am afraid. Say, I am feeling fear, but I am choosing faith. Do not say, I am broken. Say, I am being restored. Do not say, I am stuck. Say, I am being prepared for movement. Your subconscious listens closely when you say, I am. Those words shape self-image, and self-image shapes behavior. Napoleon Hill understood that people do not rise above the image they hold of themselves for long. To change your life, you must change the inner picture. So begin holding a new picture. See yourself as someone who is guided. See yourself as someone who handles pressure with grace. See yourself as someone who receives opportunities. See yourself as someone who makes wise decisions. See yourself as someone who is supported by heaven. See yourself as someone whose life works out in ways better than expected. Hold this image until it becomes familiar. Hold it in the morning. Hold it before sleep. Hold it when fear argues. Hold it when evidence has not yet changed. The invisible image comes before the visible result. That is creation. Now speak this with me internally. I am not ruled by fear. I am led by faith. I am becoming the person who can carry the blessing I am asking for. That last line matters. Sometimes things have not appeared yet because your capacity is still being built. And this should not discourage you. It should encourage you. Preparation is proof that purpose exists. God does not prepare people for nothing. If you are in a season of learning, growing, healing, waiting, being corrected, being strengthened, do not despise it. Something is being built in you. The foundation is being deepened. The roots are being strengthened. The character is being formed. Fear says nothing is happening. Faith says, I am being made ready. Think of Joseph. His dream was real, but the path did not look like the dream. Betrayal, waiting, false accusation, hidden years. If Joseph had judged his destiny by one painful chapter, he could have lost heart. But God was working in the hidden places. The dream was not cancelled. It was being prepared. Your current chapter may not look like your promise, but that does not mean the promise is dead. Keep your heart clean. Keep your faith alive. Keep serving with excellence. Keep learning. Keep showing up. Keep believing that nothing surrendered to God is wasted. Everything is working out. Not always loudly, not always quickly, not always comfortably, but deeply, wisely, perfectly in ways you may only understand later. There will come a moment when you look back and say, "Now I understand why that door closed. Now I understand why I had to wait. Now I understand why that person left. Now I understand why I was being stretched. Now I understand why God did not answer the way I demanded." This is why you can have peace before understanding, because understanding often arrives after obedience. So stop waiting for hindsight to trust. Trust now. Let hindsight confirm later what faith already knows. And when the next challenge comes, because life will still bring challenges, respond differently. Do not immediately ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "How can this work for me? What is this teaching? Where is the hidden door? What is the wise step? What fear is being exposed so it can be healed?" This question shifts you from victim to creator, from panic to power, from confusion to curiosity. And curiosity is one of the most underrated forms of faith. It assumes there is something to discover. Fear shuts down. Faith becomes curious. Maybe there is a lesson here, maybe there is a better way, maybe there is a hidden blessing. Maybe this is not the end. That one maybe can keep hope alive until certainty returns. Now write in the comments, "I trust the way my life is unfolding." Let those words meet the part of you that wants to rush, the part of you that compares, the part of you that feels late, the part of you that keeps asking, "When will it be my turn?" Your life is not behind. Your path is not a copy of someone else's. Your timing is not supposed to match the crowd. A tree does not panic because another tree bloomed first. It stays rooted. It receives light. It grows in season. Stay rooted. Comparison is fear wearing a mask. It says, "If they have it and I do not, maybe I missed mine." But faith says, "What is for me is not threatened by what is for them." Their blessing is evidence that blessings exist, not evidence that mine is absent. Celebrate others without abandoning yourself. Bless what is working for them and keep tending what is growing in you. Envy drains energy. Gratitude restores it. Comparison confuses your path. Purpose clarifies it. You cannot act as if everything works out while constantly measuring your life against someone else's highlight. Return to your lane. Return to your assignment. Return to your relationship with God. Return to the small, faithful actions that build a life. The person you admire did not become strong by staring at everyone else. They became strong by showing up where they were planted. So show up. Even before applause, even before results, even before certainty. Show up because your life matters. Show up because your gifts need development. Show up because faith without works becomes fantasy. Show up because God can bless movement. Act as if everything always works out, and then give everything something to work through. Give God your obedience. Give your dream your discipline. Give your mind truth. Give your body rest. Give your future seeds. A farmer who believes in harvest still plants. Faith does not replace planting. Faith gives planting meaning. So plant. Plant words of faith. Plant actions of discipline. Plant decisions of courage. Plant moments of prayer. Plant habits of excellence. Plant generosity. Plant patience. Plant forgiveness. Plant learning. And trust the harvest. Some seeds grow fast. Some grow slowly. Some grow underground for longer than you expected. But do not dig them up every day with doubt. Water them with consistency. Cover them with gratitude. Protect them from the weeds of fear. Your future is listening to your present habits. There is a version of your life that requires you to stop letting fear waste your energy. Fear consumes the strength you need for creation. It makes you tired before you even begin. It turns imagination into a weapon. But faith turns imagination into a blueprint. Use your imagination wisely. Instead of imagining the conversation going wrong, imagine yourself speaking calmly and clearly. Instead of imagining failure, imagine yourself learning and adjusting. Instead of imagining rejection, imagine yourself remaining whole no matter the response. Instead of imagining lack, imagine provision, ideas, and wise opportunities. Instead of imagining abandonment, imagine God's presence surrounding you. This is not childish, this is training. Athletes visualize, leaders visualize, artists visualize. People of faith meditate on promise. Your mind moves toward the picture you hold. Give it a picture worthy of your destiny. And when old images return, replace them. Do not fight darkness for hours. Turn on light, speak truth, breathe, pray, redirect. Say, I do not agree with that future. Say, I choose the image of peace. Say, I choose the image of provision. Say, I choose the image of victory with humility. Say, I choose the image of everything working together for good. Little by little, the inner picture changes, and as it changes, your outer posture follows. You stand taller. You speak clearer. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop shrinking to make fear comfortable. You stop calling yourself realistic when you are actually being wounded. You stop expecting the worst as a way to avoid disappointment. Listen to this carefully. Expecting the worst does not protect you from pain, it only makes you suffer in advance. Faith does not guarantee you will never face discomfort, it guarantees you will not be ruled by it, and that is freedom. You can say, even if this is difficult, I will be guided. Even if this changes, I will be held. Even if I do not get what I wanted, I will not lose who I am. Even if the path shifts, purpose remains. That kind of person is powerful. Not because they control life, but because life no longer controls their soul. Now let us bring this into a simple daily practice. When you wake up, do not rush immediately into the world. Place your hand over your heart and breathe slowly. Say, God, lead my thoughts today. Lead my words today. Lead my actions today. I will have no fear. I will act as if everything is working out because I trust you are with me. Then choose one action that matches faith. One action, not 10. 1. Make the call, clean the space, write the page, send the proposal, study the lesson, take the walk, save the amount, apologize, set the boundary, begin. At midday, pause again. Ask, am I acting from fear or faith right now? If fear has taken over, do not condemn yourself. Return, breathe, realign, say, I can begin again right now. At night, review the day with grace. Notice where things worked out, even in small ways. Notice where you were guided. Notice where you reacted from fear and what you can learn. Then release the day. Do not carry it into sleep like a burden. Place it in God's hands. This rhythm will change you. Morning alignment. Daily faithful action. Midday awareness. Nightly release. Do that long enough and your identity shifts. You become the person who trusts. You become the person who moves. You become the person who rests. You become the person who sees God's hand, not only in miracles, but in process. And as this identity grows, people may notice something different about you. They may not know how to name it. They may say you seem calmer, stronger, more grounded, less reactive, more confident. That is what happens when fear is no longer the center. Your atmosphere changes, and your atmosphere matters. Some people bring panic into every room. Some bring peace, some bring complaint. Some bring possibility, some bring heaviness. Some bring faith. Become a carrier of faith. Not loud, not fake, not preachy, just steady. Let your life quietly say, I trust God. When others panic, you can be calm. When others gossip, you can speak life. When others expect collapse, you can look for solutions. When others say it is over, you can say maybe something new is beginning. This does not only bless you, it blesses everyone connected to you. Your faith creates shelter. Your peace creates space. Your courage gives others permission to rise. That is why this message matters. It is not only about getting what you want. It is about becoming someone fear cannot easily use. It is about becoming mentally disciplined, spiritually rooted, emotionally mature, and aligned with divine purpose. Everything working out does not mean your ego gets everything it demands. It means your life is being guided toward what is ultimately good, true, and aligned. Sometimes your ego wants comfort, but your spirit needs growth. Sometimes your ego wants approval, but your spirit needs freedom. Sometimes your ego wants speed, but your spirit needs depth. Trust the deeper good. The more you trust, the less you force. The less you force, the more clearly you act. The more clearly you act, the more aligned your results become. This is the peaceful power Napoleon Hill pointed toward when he spoke of faith, desire, autosuggestion, purpose, and persistence. Desire gives direction, faith gives energy, autosuggestion trains the subconscious, purpose organizes the mind, persistence carries you through delay. And when all of this is placed under God, it becomes more than success philosophy. It becomes a way of walking with divine confidence. Have no fear, not because you are in control of everything, because God is present in everything. Act as if everything always works out, not because you are pretending life has no challenges, because you believe every challenge can be used. Walk as if provision is possible. Speak as if your words matter. Prepare as if opportunity is coming. Rest as if God is working. Give as if abundance flows. Forgive as if freedom is worth more than resentment. Begin as if the first step matters. Wait as if timing is sacred. This is how you become unshakable. And now, as we come toward the close of this message, do not let this become only something you heard. Let it become something you practice. Inspiration without practice fades. Truth repeated becomes transformation. Today, choose one fear you will no longer obey. Name it honestly. The fear of failing, the fear of being judged, the fear of not having enough, the fear of being alone, the fear of starting over, the fear of being seen, the fear of success, the fear of disappointment. Then choose one act of faith that contradicts that fear. Small is enough. Consistent is powerful. You do not need to change your whole life in one dramatic gesture. You need to begin proving to your nervous system, your subconscious mind, and your spirit that fear is no longer the decision maker. Every time you act from faith, fear gets weaker. Every time you speak truth, doubt gets quieter. Every time you remember God's faithfulness, anxiety loses ground. Every time you move with courage, your identity expands. And one day, what feels difficult now will become natural. You will look back and realize you no longer panic like you used to. You no longer chase like you used to. You no longer collapse when something changes. You no longer assume the worst. You have become someone new. That is the miracle. Not only that circumstances changed, but that you changed. And when you change, everything you touch begins to change. So tonight, carry this sentence with you. Everything is working out for me because God is working within me. Say it when fear rises. Say it before sleep. Say it before the meeting. Say it before the decision. Say it when the evidence is unclear. Say it until your body believes it. Say it until your choices reflect it. Say it until peace becomes your normal atmosphere. Everything is working out for me because God is working within me. If this message spoke to your heart, write one final comment. I have no fear. Everything is working out. Let your comment be a marker of this moment, a declaration that you are no longer available for the old agreement with fear. And if this video strengthened you, like it so it can reach more people who need this truth. Subscribe to the channel if you want to keep growing in faith, mindset, prosperity, and spiritual confidence. Share this with someone who has been carrying too much fear in silence. You may be the sign they prayed for. Remember this, you are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are not abandoned, you are being guided, you are being strengthened, you are being prepared, you are being aligned. Have no fear. Act as if everything always works out, because in the hands of God, even what seemed uncertain can become part of a greater good. And from this day forward, let your mind, your words, your actions, and your spirit agree with one truth. Everything is working out for me